you come into this country and everyone's like, from where?
Yeah.
What company? Who is
You don't have
this? You know?
Canadian
Yeah.
experience. Like, yes, we have a support system here. We're really great friends, but at the end of the day, nothing beats like a family. You know what? They're handing out Jamaican parties.
Yeah.
And I have the biggest smile on my face.
Hello and welcome to our immigration stories as told by Canadian immigrants. I'm your host, Christina McPherson, and each week we're going to dive into the real, the raw, and the inspiring journeys of immigrants who have made Canada their home. Hello and welcome. Today's episode is actually as told by Canadian immigrant authors. I am here with authors Noel and Roxanne Bennett. They are the authors of this amazing, beautiful, colorful book, Jerk Chicken Magic. I have my signed copy right here. So when I went to my book signing, yeah. And we are going to learn about their Canadian immigration story. This book is more than just a storybook. It is an ode to immigrants in Canada, whether you know about your chicken or not, wherever you come from. There are very relatable elements in this book to every immigrant in any country, but right now we're as told by Canadian immigrants. So we're going to jump into the story and getting to know more about Roxanne and Noel. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for being here today and taking the time out. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here and chat with you. We appreciate you creating this platform and having us here to talk about the book.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on this. I feel like this is going to be an element in every single episode, probably. The power of networking. Guys, I don't know these people from Adams, right? But I feel like I know you now. You know,
I know it's the same, you know.
Right?
And shout out to you for coming to support us at our signing and purchasing a copy of our book. We love that you also loves it, and we appreciate, you know, you coming with
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is kind of like we are both in a shared community group on Facebook.
Yes.
Right? I paid attention. She posted her book. As a fellow author, I have a bookstore coming, which is going to highlight immigrant authors and their books. Awesome. So I saw her book and I was like, oh, okay, Jerk Chicken, she must be from Jamaica, right? our Jamaicans are going to have a problem.
Can you imagine?
Scandal.
Right? Although somebody told me that the best jerk chicken they had was actually somebody from Africa made it.
Oh,
hot take. But then you know what? Our ancestors, so we can't.
Listen, if you tell people to leave in the comments, you know what, like who has the best
jerk chicken is gonna start a complete war.
Yeah.
Oh, should we guys drop it in the comments
where you had the best jerk chicken?
Wherever you had the best chicken, who made it?
Right? Now we're viral. Now we've gone viral.
War. It's war. Right. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. The power of networking. I reached out to Roxanne and here we are. As I went to her book signing, not her, Noel and Roxanne's book signing and supported them. And here we are today to hear their immigration story. So first of all, like what was life like before Canada and what prompted that move to Canada? What was it?
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so both of us were worked in marketing. I specifically at the, like, I guess the end of my career in Jamaica, I was a marketing manager at a very popular home center, active home center. And I was the marketing manager there. And, you know, you at the time, you can intro what you did. Intro what you did.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. Well, from my perspective, I was at the top of my career and I was the creative director at for Digital Group.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, there, you know, so definitely, you know, we had a lot of roots there. We were definitely, you know, thriving, some people would say. And
we didn't have kids yet, but we thought to ourselves, like, what else is here for us in Jamaica? Like, where else could we go? I think, you know, there are certain paths and certain roads and careers that you can go, but it was like, okay, we are at that point in our lives, but we don't have kids right now. We have flexibility, you know. Maybe we should try living somewhere else or going somewhere else and trying something new, because then you can do it with kids. That's not that I never discourage anybody from doing it with kids, but it's just a lot easier to navigate at that point. And we just said to ourselves, let's try it. You know, we thought about the US, but then we thought Canada had just more collective things that seemed more aligned with the things that we wanted, and just like healthcare, and like we just thought that, and you know, it was a place that would be a good fit. So we wanted to try it out. So
Mhm.
we kind of made that move based on that, and we just said, let's do it. And then we kind of said it like the December, and we started putting things together. And by July, we had moved.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So when you say, sorry, you wanted to jump in there, Noel.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, no, I was just gonna mention that also. Obviously, we love Jamaica. I mean, nowhere, no nice like Yad, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt, and even it's from my perspective, and maybe you as well a bit, but like I felt like I was at a ceiling in terms of my
Okay.
career.
Yeah.
So the options there were either to, work at that company for a very long period, which obviously,
Forever.
but yeah, forever, right? Which most of us tend to do.
Or
But
start your own thing, which you were doing. You
yeah,
were
or
doing your
start
own
your own
thing.
thing, yeah, because I'm also the co-founder of a reggae publication called Backyard Magazine. So I do that with my
Okay.
partner Amilcar. So, I was doing that plus also working within corporate. And yeah, we kind of just got to the point where it was like, oh, where do we go from here? And
Yeah.
we have a lot more, aspirations in terms of just you know, wanting to promote our culture or seeing what spaces weren't being occupied
Okay.
by us, right?
Yeah.
On a mainstream level,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yes.
guess considering all of that, we did our research,
Yeah.
like
And
Roxanne said, and yeah,
we landed on Canada. And
yeah.
we just kind of, we don't play. I usually I'm the coordinator of the thing. So like when we say we're doing something, boom.
It's done. Pack your bags.
World boss. Yeah.
So speaking of which, right? Because you said you're kind of in December, by July you were here, so that's like a 6-month period. So
Yes.
what was your immigration route? That was on like school, was it?
No, it was school, and I'll tell you this.
Okay.
So I researched it, and actually at the time I did qualify for express entry,
Okay.
but in like my research and talking to people, and even I had a friend who had gone to Canada, and when you come in express entry, it's a good option. I don't discourage anybody, but you don't have it in it. You land here, you don't have it in network yourself
Yeah.
from scratch. So I went ahead, applied for school, got into school within I applied in January, I did a little trick where, at the time, if you were trying to do tests locally, it would be months and months ahead. I flew to Tampa to do my test because they had tests available in January, and that was
This is English test, you mean?
yes, the
Okay,
English
they were
test.
requiring English test from you? Which school is that?
No, remember that
IELTS,
you have to do IELTS, and I was wanting to do IELTS in order to expedite the process because there were things. And again, I qualified for permanent residency or express entry, but I didn't do that route. I did school so that we can build a network, build friendships, and from there, that's how things kind of I guess progress. And I'm happy I did that route because I feel like we would have felt a little bit more on an island in a sense, even though we're in North America. If we had done express entry and just again based on feedback from other people and things that we've seen, we realized that was a better route for us to integrate better into the community. So yeah, and then I did the test, applied for school, we did school, we basically got everything, and everything was rapid. Told our jobs that we're adiosing and we're going overseas, and yeah, we moved in July. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. But there are no regrets. We definitely love the decision we made. It hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a very difficult road. It's not an easy road, as would you say, right? But yeah, I mean, we're not special in any way. Everyone has to go through this process in varying degrees, right? I definitely had I didn't, from my perspective after moving, obviously Roxanne was, connected through school and he was going through that process.
Okay.
But my perspective was slightly different and would have been more in line if we had just gone with the express entry road.
Exactly.
Which was, I had to know going.
He was open. Because of me, he was able to get the open work permit, and then then for him, the network, he was doing the networking and going.
I'm going in oh yeah, I'm the former creative director for Digicel.
Pop your
yeah,
collar.
I mean, you need to hire me, right?
Yeah, Canada.
Not with that.
Not with that arrogance, right? But you know what I
I
mean?
know.
You're coming from a situation where like you're at the quote unquote top of the food chain.
Of course.
And you come into this country and everyone's like, from where?
Yeah.
What company? Who is this?
You don't have
You know?
Canadian experience.
Yeah, but
like that's
yeah,
the line, the quote unquote. And even if it's not even said out like
yeah.
directly, that's like the sense that they get.
Yeah, that's kind of the underlying theme. And you know, you would think, oh, I'm in the telecoms industry, so maybe getting back into the telecoms industry, even with the connections I had here in that whole telecommunications world, and and you know, basically networking with other people in that world, it still didn't help. It still didn't help.
Really.
And there's a lot of unsaid biases that occur, right? That we don't talk about enough. That's very prevalent. Yeah, so my side was pretty difficult. It took me quite some time to get my footing, which was very frustrating on many levels, as we all attest to. And yeah, but eventually, you know, it came together.
Yeah, it came together, it worked out. And just from my end, I think, again, school helped along because after school, I was able to land a pretty strong internship. And then from there, it kind of the track and building like a network and friendships along the way from there. And because when you come here, it's not, oh, you have your parents and you have your neighbors and you have high school and you have this and that, and it's built up over years. It is from scratch again, unless you have family. And even then, we did have some family, yes, and they were quite supportive through the process, but it's still hard. So I couldn't imagine people who don't have any family, no connection, how much harder it is at their experience.
And it's so easy to not meet people here.
Yes.
Right. And I credit, like, of course, when we go to school, like you said, that was a good good analysis on your part, because I kind of feel the same way in that, like, you come, you kind of have a year to, like, you have friends, you kind of learn the lay of the land. But Noel, you bring up such a good point that I've actually never really thought about, is this, the spouse's experience. Right? Because, well, gone are the days when that's possible, for now anyways, unless you're studying like a master's, because they've made a lot of changes. But I never really thought about what it's going to be like on your side. And you guys never had kids at the time.
Right.
Picking up and moving was easy. Okay. So you've been here for like 5 years.
Oh, we've been here more. 8 years?
I'd say closer to 9.
Okay. Yeah, 2016. So like 8.5.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So now, what school did you go to, if you don't mind, and what program?
Oh yeah, so I went to Humber College. I looked at all of them,
alumni,
like the program. Sorry?
We're Humber alumni.
Oh yeah. So I looked at programming, and I think so. I did the postgraduate program in marketing management, and I think that was just aligned in with what I wanted to do. But funny enough, I ended up in PR and communication, and but that was that route just naturally happened, and the internship that I did that happened. But I made a lot of connections with people that friendships I've maintained throughout the time, and managed to even ended up like forming, like even like a business, something that I did at the time, and I won some kind of entrepreneurship award thing, blah 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 blah. And it was just very positive from that perspective, but still hard.
Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit, right? Because we're both parents on here, and we always hear that it takes a village. Except we left the village at home.
No village, you come, and there was no village before kids. We had kids, and at the time, my daughter transitioned into being a COVID baby. I had her in 2019, but then when COVID happened, she was roughly around 7 months. So she was inside, and my village, at the time, my mom, she flew here, and Noel's mom flew here to support us in the beginning stages. When we had our first kid, first grandchild, everybody is excited, and they came here and they're back and forth and supported us through that journey. But still, it's a finite period, right?
Yeah,
and
of course.
They're back, to their lives and having to do the things that they need to do. It's on us to like balance And in COVID, when I wasn't sure about sending, her to daycare and what that would look like for kids, because no research was out yet. So there are times we were juggling, okay, you get on work because work was remote at the time. You get on, okay, I watch her, you watch her, and we swap and kind of tag team like that to just make sure that she was okay and like interacting with us. And we were worried at one point because she, as most parents were in COVID time, whether or not she would be social, but she is a social.
Oh, she never.
She's a
Yeah,
social
she didn't
child.
lose.
She
Yeah,
didn't lose that at all during the process,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, the village is something I think about all the time, even to this day. Every time we have like some engagement or conversation, even right now during this interview, because we have a son as well now, and he is 11 months soon to be 1. And again, for us, it's, yes, you build friendships. Yes, we have a support system here. We're really great friends, but at the end of the day, nothing beats like a family, having your family near you, having grandparents in, and that's what a lot of people here rely on. Their network and their family. Oh, I'm gonna just drop the kids at grandpa and grandma
for the weekend.
And they're off, or I'm gonna leave them and I'm gonna travel and this and that. So we don't necessarily have that at the touch of a button.
Right.
And also there are struggles in terms of like, even they're coming here, but then they have to be here for a specific time and then they have to go back because they mess up the immigration side of things, and like their movement freely to see us and us to see them kind of thing. So that part of it is something that we have to be conscious of, third persons. All right, anything you want to add?
No, yeah. I mean, that's definitely the main challenge, was not having that support system readily accessible and available. And it's you definitely do appreciate having your parents around, or even your chosen family. You definitely really, like, during this whole process, you definitely appreciate everything you've gone through to get here. You appreciate the people who helped you along the way. So it's a very humbling process.
Humbling indeed. Yeah. Right, because like you said, like you were kind of at a ceiling, which is a good place. And you say, how can I add more problems to my life?
That's
like, why did you do that?
Me.
That's exactly
but yeah, no, I can totally relate, and I can understand what it feels like. In fact, I want to bring up this. So their book, for our viewers, listeners, readers, because this will be video and podcast, Jerk Chicken Magic. And there is a page in this book where, this stood out to me majorly when I was reading. It's to Ebony, and it talks about, this is the mom and this is Lizzie. Did the mom have a name, or she was just mom?
No, we didn't name her in the story.
Okay, it's like Cocomelon, right? Mom and dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So mom won lots of awards as a chef. So this is in our home country. Mom won lots of awards as chef. But then when she moved abroad, she had to start over. And that kind of stood out to me, because when I was reading it, like, because I know you, I know you, sort of.
Yes, you know me.
I totally know you guys. I thought to myself, well, I don't know if you were a chef, but I can imagine how true this could feel.
Yes.
Many of us immigrants coming here, starting over. Like, I wasn't really starting over when I came, because I came straight after university. So I never worked. I never contribute to NHT. I'm not like that by that time, So I wasn't really starting over. I was just continuing. But for you guys, like you said, and Noel, you touched on that, coming here and trying to find that network and trying to get in. And I think a lot of the time not me necessarily, but coming from a position of prestige, so to speak, or whatever the case may be, you thought that, well, I'm this in this country now, in this country, I'm having to figure out that, navigate that. You spoke a little bit about that before, but how was that for you together? As two people, but also individually as because you kind of had to do a little bit of starting over as well, right, Roxanne?
Oh yeah, no, I did. So like, again, I was as a marketing manager at Home Center, and then I came here and doing school, starting over, looking for jobs. I started out, I had to do an internship for school, but then that, I guess, set the paperwork for it. So then I started out in like a coordinator role, which was, again, nothing is wrong with it, but it's just that even when I was doing the interview process, and my manager at the time, she's like, you are extremely overqualified for this. And she's like, so she knew I was going to excel, and in a very short time I was became like an advisor, which moves to like skipped a level. I skipped a level in the sense of Canadian terms, and ended up being an advisor in a short time at the company, and then moved on from there to different roles. And then currently I'm at a Toronto-based fintech, and yeah, really as an engagement manager and a program manager for the team there. So yeah, it was a journey. It took a while. It took a while to really hone and make connections. You find that, I don't know if it's while you are coming across and you're being genuine and you're being human, you're not necessarily getting that 100% from everybody. So I gravitated. I really work off of if me text you.
Yeah. Good
And
energy, right?
text you, and I realized that the people that I gravitated are people who are genuine, or who like I really kind of stuck to and really tried to build relationships with. And I did carry forward a lot of relationships from those roles, most of those roles. And yeah, it was a starting over concept till, you know, kind of back where I am now as a manager. And it's just like, okay, the journey to get there it was very interesting.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, no, and yeah, and then from my perspective, like I said earlier, it was difficult because it's here to go on these things called coffee dates, right? And I'm going on dozens of coffee dates a week, right? Like just networking, meeting with people through LinkedIn, through other sources, through other friends that might know someone, through uncles that have been here, you know, and you're going on all of these chats and what they call coffee dates, and you know, some of them give you okay advice, I guess. Not that, you know,
very superficial and
very surface level, top level
Yeah.
stuff, right? But no actual action to help you to get in.
or support in getting. You're not asking for like you to hand anything, but just let me know how you could support and like help me into this.
Get through the door. And also, you know, I think we need to also say and recognize that in actuality, that's how a lot of the individuals, especially in the you know, in the career space, that's how people get ahead, right? And even if you know, even if we step away from careers and look at housing, it's always there's a leg up being native to the land, right? Or not native, but at least having right, but having grown up here. Right, there's a leg up that you receive from your parents or them equity out of their homes to support you to get yours. You know, we don't we don't have that option, right? Or things like, you know, oh, I have a buddy. Yeah, he used to work here. No, he's here. Okay, yeah, let me send him an email, and then all of a sudden,
boom, they're working.
You have an interview. So you know, so that's a reality for a lot of other people, not us. And you know, eventually, I did land a role at a really diverse, I would say, a very diverse institution. Right, it's one of the best places I've ever worked. But just like in the book with Liz's mom, I also, and like Roxanne, I also had to take a step back.
Yeah.
At the level that I was as an executive creative director, and basically, you know, just start out as being a designer, right? And and even within that, there are challenges. Even when you finally get that opportunity, there's challenges to move forward. There, you still hit a ceiling point, and then you have to start planning what do you do next. You know, so yeah.
And the thing is that they know, I see some places you go to or some places you interview, they know it. They know that you're overqualified. They know that you are. And in some cases, I think some places take advantage of people because they know you are an expert in specific area, but we know you'll do this because you need this, you know, and I'm not sense in specifically happened to us and our situation.
Oh, this happened to us. It's happened to like if
I guess in the sense of like
let me give an example, Christina, right? So sometimes you go on these interviews and legit I've had someone in the interview after like getting to, because you do multiple rounds, right? And in one of these rounds, these people are literally like writing down some of the ideas, things that I've implemented on a global scale. They've taken those things and they literally tell you, "Oh, I'm stealing that for sure." And you know, it's said in jest, but they were actually writing it down. Right. So these things happen, right? But then they look at us like, "Oh, you don't have enough experience," or you know, how can you run this business for us.
Yeah.
You know, you have worked in Canada before, right? So
But it's perspective, because people, when you bring in somebody with a fresh perspective, you're going to get something different. So it's not necessarily how you should view things.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
And not all companies are like that. Let me just disclose that.
Of course. Of course. You need experience to get the job, and need a job to get the experience.
Exactly.
And really, depending on I can understand maybe with healthcare.
Yes.
I was talking to a nurse who said that, you know, some of the things here, like the technology that's used here, the things like organ donation, that is not something that is practiced or they learn about in their country. Even architecture, right?
Yeah.
My background is in architecture. The architecture in the Caribbean, designing for the Caribbean, is very different from designing for Canada.
Yeah.
And so maybe, but then there's some spaces where it's just not a valid excuse.
No, it's not.
Valid.
It's just a card they draw. But
yeah. Well, we shall overcome, and overcome you came, right? All right, so let's talk about the book, right? You guys decided to do Immigrants and really capture different elements of just an immigrant's perspective, an immigrant journey. So we captured the food. It's called Jerk Chicken Magic. So we got some food in there of a Jamaican flag. Yeah.
Hey.
You captured, you know, the different generations. So there's a grandma here. You did capture the whole thing about starting over. Yeah. And you got in even like the whole military dad. So dad came home. At some point, he came home and was like, how did you guys do all of this while I was away? Thinking he was only away for a very little time, but it actually was not. Yeah, so talk about the different elements, and also like what sparked this idea of this book, and how is it being received by immigrants? That's a whole heap of question in one.
Yeah. No, but we'll follow you.
We get you.
You want to talk about the idea or the name?
Yeah. Okay. So like Jerk Chicken Magic, I think when we've always wanted to do something where we were celebrating the immigrant experience. And we, you know, one day he came downstairs and he said to me, I think we should do a children's book. We feel like that's the vehicle. We get them young, let them understand it, but then really celebrate as the parents are reading with the kids. Then they're like, oh, wow, I really see myself in this, you know, or I'm learning about this experience. And he said, let's do a book. And I was like, let's do it. And he's like, I think we should theme it around food. And I think jerk chicken is really the avenue we should go. Because again, you've always said it, outside of, you know, reggae music, outside of, you know, even track and field, Jamaicans are known for food. And what's the most popular Jamaican food? We really think about it. Jerk chicken, that's the first thing people would want to try when they go to the island. And anywhere you go in the world, no matter where you find some jerk chicken, jerk tofu, jerk. There is something. So we thought everywhere. So we thought that, you know, that would be a good way. So it connects with multiple people, connect with Jamaicans, yes, connect with Caribbean people, but connect with people on a broader scale. Like, oh, I've heard of jerk chicken. I know, I want to know about the story and learn more about Lizzie and her experience and her family.
And it was also important too for us to speak about the origin story of it, because it is. Well, I mean, it's kind of an immigrant story, kind of. I mean, it really like jerk chicken really was born out of
a need
a need to survive, right? You know, a lot of people don't understand that.
Well, yes, that is the immigrant struggle, survival.
Yeah. You know, when you're biting into a tasty jerk chicken, the origin of that is that, you know, people were literally hiding in the cockpit mountains from individuals that were trying to oppress them, right? And they had to find new inventive ways to cook their food, to eat, to survive, right? And that's how pit cooking and cooking underground kind of took off.
And the jerk process in itself.
Right, and the ingredients that were available to them at the time.
That was like
they collected, and you know, so it's a really fascinating story, and we thought it was important
to integrate. So we tried to pack a lot in this book.
Yeah,
we tried to pack a lot of layers and a lot of the thought process behind it was very like detailed, as you know, we're crafting the story that we wanted to make sure that we're putting these elements, but make it succinct so that it's for kids. So we have to make sure that it is palatable, that they enjoy it, but then also parents enjoy reading it. And it's, you know, it really sparks questions with each turn on the page, or every time they read the book, it's something else and they ask why and when and how. So yeah, and just we always talk about just sparking cultural curiosity, especially for the kids who are overseas with Jamaican heritage, that, you know, things happen in the kitchen and mommy is cooking and grandma is cooking, but you're not necessarily a part of the process. You just eat all this delicious food and you see all of these ingredients, but we tend to not formally pass down generationally.
Yeah, you're right.
So we just happen, we might be in the kitchen and we learn person like, okay, dash of this and this and that. And then you ask your mom or your grandma, oh, you don't, I don't know, you know, it's in my head.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But so we just want to really create the conversations that are going to spark these recipes being passed down, so that you know, you can take it and pass it on to your kids and so on and so on, and you know. And I feel like there's not a formal thing happening now in communities, and I think there's a lot of people who don't talk about it, that feel left in the dark about how to prepare certain dishes, not just like, you know, myriad of dishes from Jamaica, and even I don't want to isolate to Jamaica, because we want to spark this conversation. It's happened with teachers reading this book in the classroom, where kids are talking about, I have a special recipe that my family cooks, and it's even sparked a classroom the following week, creating the special dishes and carrying it for all the different, you know, kids to try.
Yes, nice.
So like cultural exchange and all of that. So that's the kind of the different angles we want to spark, you know, where you see yourself, you see your family, but also you're also looking at other people's interests and other people's cultures, understand, you know, the things that they've gone through. And
nice. And because we leave the village behind, sometimes these things are even harder to pass down, because them, you know, it's over WhatsApp.
Out of sight, out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. Yes, I love it. I love it. Right. So how has it been received by the immigrant community? I know you've been kind of reading it to kids at schools and stuff like that. I was very happy to see it, and I saw the immigrant twist in there, and I'm loving just the different elements of an immigrant's experience that is brought in there. But for the ones that you've that was just my experience, the other experiences as told by other experiences, how has it been received?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been well received. You know, I think that people are really gravitating towards, even if it's not the particular story about the jerk chicken and that side of the heritage, they gravitate towards a multi-generational story. Sorry, the multi-generational household aspect of it, right? Where a lot of people, especially when you move to a new country, you know, you have to, you know, it takes first grandma, maybe it's grandma that came in first, maybe it's mom, and then, you know,
or then however the village gets there.
However the village gets here, that's typically something that people resonate with. And also, you know,
the starting over aspect,
that's also something that they really connect with. And again, I think people are just really seeing themselves and their culture, even if it's not Caribbean or Jamaican culture, they just really see themselves in it. And that's precisely why we wrote it, because we wanted it to, you know, speak to our heritage and culture, but also celebrate everyone else.
And specifically in the Canadian landscape, I want to just point out, like, we don't realize how much Jamaican culture is ingrained into like Canadian culture. And even like Toronto, Ontario, I was at a reading recently, I think last week, and right before they were giving out snacks to the kids for a literary night, and you know what, they're handing out Jamaican patties. And I had the biggest smile on my face when I was going up, and I was like, I am smiling big right now, because, you know, the reason we wrote this book is exactly what's happening here right now. I said, I think you're having Jamaican patties. And it's become such a natural thing. The kids were just eating like automatic. It wasn't even like you're trying to coerce them. Everybody was just eating. And I'm like, the same thing as like, how many of you had jerk chicken? Almost everybody had their hands over. I'm just like, the things that they are consuming, and even not just jerk chicken or Jamaican food, but like culturally, what are you consuming that you just have on an everyday basis? Have you talked to your family about what you're having and what it is that you're consuming and this specific culture? It's really so it was just so nice, and I was just so happy to even see that happen right in front of me. And that's just one instance, you know. But yeah, just the kids' response, teachers, you know, and just in the classroom, the lovely reviews that we've received from people, and just conversations we've had even on author signings that we've got. Like, this is a random conversation. We had somebody come up and then talked about the fact that she's been trying to get her mom to the recipe, da da da. At the end of it, she ended up just getting the book because she's like, she revealed to us that she has Jamaican roots. It wasn't even that wasn't even at the beginning of our conversation. And yeah, and she said she's gonna get it because she wants him to release, and then this can probably start fueling and sparking a conversation with her mom and trying to get the recipes from her.
Yes,
It's a conversation starter for sure.
Yeah.
absolutely. I will have a confession.
Yes.
This minute up here because I'm devil, right? So I'm not gonna. They tried with me. They really did. They tried to make me cook and all these things. It just wasn't my thing. You know what I mean? My sister, you can cook. I was literally outside helping my daddy change a tile. So I've never made jerk chicken.
It's hard. It's a hard
I've
dish.
also never made rice and peas.
That's okay.
But guys, today, in the back of this book, where's the camera?
Is a recipe.
Is a recipe for jerk chicken. So
Christina,
I have no excuse now.
No excuse.
To go and try to make some jerk chicken
and cook with your daughter. Yes.
With Ebony. Oh, she loves it. And she has her kitchen stool, right? She has her kitchen stool because I had to be able to have some level of control and she can reach the things. So she have her stool and we're gonna go and make some jerk chicken.
Awesome.
Right.
It's the last thing I do.
Yes.
We're gonna make jerk chicken. So guys, when you get this book, when you get a copy of this book, by the way, the link is in the description to check out the Immigrant bookshop and get jerk chicken magic. Make some jerk chicken, right? So Ebony loves patty. Right? Anytime we go to pick her in town center, we go to that Caribbean restaurant in there in the food court and we get patty. And I have to coax her to eat anything I cook, but patty,
like, hands down.
Eat off the patty. Hands down.
Arguably the best, what do you call it? Finger food snack? That's
the next.
Yeah, and it has some nutritional value. You know, it's not like chips or nothing. It's like it have protein. It have the.
If you do a mega patty, it's a sandwich. So
it's a sandwich. Exactly. Exactly. What I'm looking for a mega patty right now. Sorry.
I want to go second cravings.
It's okay, I'm going to Jamaica Sundays, all right? I'm okay for mega patty.
Bring back some mango.
Oh, yeah, you know? Yes, mango in season. Oh, mango. All right. So, like, very inspiring, amazing as authors, even like to inspire anybody, any future authors, Canadian immigrant authors. That's something that I want to celebrate. And you know, when you put it in a book, it's forever. You know what I mean? It's forever. This video is also forever. You know, you're leaving behind a legacy. So I appreciate that and I love that. What do you have planned for? Is there going to be a book too? Is there going to be something else? What's the future of Jerk Chicken Magic and the coconut milk brand that you're creating?
So for like coconut milk itself, I think we hope to bring more stories to life, whether it's through more books, whether it's TV and film. We'd love to be able to turn Jerk Chicken Magic into an animated series or animation, and we also want to more books. Right now we're really focused on pouring our hearts into this book and this journey, and also different things coming from that, audiobook. Shirley, Ralph, if you're watching this, we want you to do the voice audiobook.
Tag Cheryl.
And we want to expand in terms of we never know where the story of Lizzie and her family will go and what can come from there, and other types of stories, other culture, and really helping to support other people get their stories out, no matter the format. We are going through this process, and that's part of our journey. We want to ensure that we are doing the things that we say we hoped people had done for us more, and people did do, but really taking people with us, supporting them as we go along with, whether it's conversation, whether it's just information, representation, like whatever the platform, we just want to make sure that we are pushing the narrative of Jamaica, the Caribbean, and just really trying to inspire people. And there's been so much out there now. The narrative is going and people are seeing where there are dollars to be had from supporting and telling Caribbean stories. So Bob Marley movie, Black, recently Queenie in the UK. Like there's lots of stories that are happening now. People are realizing Dreaming Whilst Black that are happening that hey, Caribbean stories inspire. Caribbean stories,
yes,
people want to see it. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. All right, so look out for the movie. Shirley Ralph watching, share this video, but also contact them. The like button, subscribe if you want to, stick around. But yeah, reach out to them and see if we can get that contract to that would be so exciting and amazing. You guys have been amazing guests, and usually when when the plane is coming down, touchdown, I usually ask for some word of advice or a little bit of wisdom or anything based on your lived experience as a Canadian immigrant that you want to impart onto future and or current immigrants.
First?
Yeah, I think I might steal. Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
You steal mine?
No, I was gonna steal your line. I'm sure I don't want to go. Yeah. Go.
Yeah, she probably does know that's actually. Well, look, in everything that you do, right? I think the biggest challenge that we have is that we're in our own heads a lot, overthink, right? But I think just putting one foot in front of the other and just start is probably the best advice I can or we can give, because that's what we literally did. Is we didn't overthink it. We obviously put a lot of thought.
And it took time.
And
to get there to where we thought, okay, we can do this. So let's put this into the universe kind of thing.
So we took what we were passionate about from a story perspective, and we gave birth to this book. But in terms of tangible things you can do, is just put one foot in front of the other, whether that is to write something down, sketch something out, do a vision board, Pinterest board, whatever you want to do. That's an act of putting one foot in front of the other, and you'll be surprised how far you go.
And to add to that, don't settle. And I don't mean that like anything you're doing, like whatever you're doing, if you had a vision and a dream of doing something and it's something that's always in the back of your head, get to pen to paper. As you said, vision board. I don't really have a physical vision board, but I've always, if there's something I want, I think about it, and then what are the avenues that I need to do to get this? So who would I need to contact? Cold email people. Like, you never know. Shoot your shot. Like, what is gonna stop you from all they're gonna say is not answer, yes and no, but at least you send an email. So you don't have to regret. So I would just say don't settle. Make sure that you try to go after your dreams. And even if they might seem big and unattainable, start small. How do you get there? And as you said, the next step, let's get to this step, let's create the next step, and then you work your way up. And we are trying to do that, and we're working, we're just really zoned in on, this project and also the future of coconut milk.
Well, you guys have been amazing. It is a pleasure to reconnect. And I hope we have not hope. Hope is not a strategy. We're definitely going to be reconnecting and doing things. We have kiddos around the same age, so we can play dates, all these things, and we're in Durham region. So that's amazing. So we have no excuse.
Put in your calendar. It's happening.
That's right.
happening. Let's make our own village.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yes. All right. I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for being here today, and for Miles for sleeping through the interview.
He's upstairs sleeping.
You did it, Miles. When you're watching this when you're older, you did it. We appreciate you. So thank you so much. Remember, if you want to get your copy of Jerk Chicken Magic, link is in the description below. And if you're listening to this on podcast, you know where to find the links, right, guys? It's somewhere somewhere. Okay. So if this video was helpful to you, please hit the like button, share it with anybody who it may help or be inspiring for. And if you want more helpful videos like this, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.